Okay, so guys, we're back with the second episode of the Edge podcast, and this time we've got Jake on. So Jake is actually a staff member at Aftermarket Arbitrage, and he works in our Amazon section of the server, and he's got a really, really interesting story that I wanted to share with you guys today. And we're also going to field some questions regarding Amazon and from our members, and sort of share how he's gone from essentially nothing to self-teaching himself to building up an Amazon store that's now yields over 7 figures a year. So welcome to the podcast, Jake.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, of course. We're glad to have you on. We want to learn a lot from you. I know that pretty much everyone watching is going to have a serious interest in what you do.
Yeah.
And this is going to be extremely valuable for our members.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'd be really good to get back to, let's take it right back to the start, and we'll just talk about where you started, how you got involved in Amazon, why it appealed to you.
Yeah, so started Amazon, it's got to be about 1.5 years, nearly 2 years ago now.
So let's just pause right there a second.
Yeah.
You started 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and you've already hit 7 figures.
Yeah.
So there you go, people. To anyone that thinks they're too old to start, or wherever you are in your life, this is 2 years in, and he's already at 7 figures. Okay, let's go.
In sales, not profit.
Yeah,
sales.
of course.
Don't forget that. So about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, was in uni, first year of uni, just finishing off first year of uni. It was about when COVID was coming around. I dabbled in different businesses before. He's been entrepreneurial. I'd sold Yeezys before and things like that. And yeah, just saw people doing like Amazon on Instagram, some bits and bobs about it on YouTube and things like that. And I thought I'd have a look into it, looked at it on YouTube, did a few online courses, stuff like that. And just built it up, started slow, had a lot of issues when I started. Didn't really know what I was doing, but obviously as you keep going, you build and build and build.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess the rest is history, really.
Great. So I know you have a pretty interesting story of where your initial investment came from to Amazon. So let's just touch on that.
Yeah. So I just finished my first year of uni, going into my second year around that time. COVID was starting. Going out with my mates, going out in my car with my mates, and I used to have a red limited edition Corsa.
Yeah.
And one night I was going down this, it was dual carriageway, come round the what do we call it, island. It was oil on the road, didn't even realise it was late at night, probably quite tired. Probably going maybe a little bit too fast around this island, within the speed limit obviously, and come round the corner and the car just starts absolutely sliding. Out of control, slammed straight into the curb. Front two wheels aren't even attached anymore. I'm thinking, oh God, what am I going to do? So got that all sorted out with the insurance and things like that, and was going back and forth with them about the value of the car and things like that. Obviously, this was at the start of COVID. I don't know what I wanted to do. I didn't really want to carry on with uni. So rather than buying a new car, I used the money that the car insurance gave me to sort of kickstart Amazon, as it was this time when I'd sort of just started, created an account and things like that. And I used the money from the car essentially to kickstart. I think it was 4.5 or 5 grand. Right. And I put bits and bobs of money that I'd saved up. I used to work in Waitrose that I'd saved up from there while I was in uni.
Perfect. So I think what's interesting we can touch on now is with Aftermarket Arbitrage currently, we haven't, you only touch wholesale, don't you?
Yes.
So you don't do online arbitrage, retail arbitrage.
A lot of people, just to explain the difference if people didn't know, so wholesale is basically, it's a form of Amazon where, say, for example, say I sold Corona on Amazon, I wouldn't just buy one crate from a shop. I'd be able to buy as many as I liked, really. So I'll usually bring things in on pallets. So they might be 2,000 bottles of beer on that pallet. And that's the thing with wholesale. It's usually products that you can find. You'll go to a supplier to get them and create trade accounts and things like that. And you can keep selling those products. I can explain more about it in a bit when we get onto it. But for anyone that doesn't know, retail arbitrage and online arbitrage are a little bit different. It's when there's sort of like clearances at things like Argos and things like that. So you might have a different type of beer that's reduced, but it's like a line that the store's not going to sell anymore. So they're going to try and get rid of that at usually cheaper than they're buying it for themselves. But obviously that's a set amount. It's like a deleted line. There's not much left of it. It's not always the way, but a lot of the time that's the way with online arbitrage and retail arbitrage. So you can only get a set amount of those things. So it's good. You can make money on them, but it's not a consistent, stable income of a portfolio of 30 products, etc., that will keep making you money month on month, really.
And so you mentioned a portfolio of products there, like for yourself, like what does you, like not items specifically, but how many do you have in your portfolio?
So I have around 50 products in my portfolio at the moment, but that's always going up and down. A lot of my products are pretty popular things, so a lot of things are working on supply and demand. Some months you can get stock and you buy as much as you can. Some months you can't get any stock. It just completely depends.
I'm guessing that's seasonal as well.
Yeah, you can do seasonal things. I tend to stay away from seasonal things usually because, again, I try and create just the most stable sort of income as you can, really. You can do well off seasonal things, and if you're buying them right, then obviously it's fine. What was the original question about that?
So it was just about your portfolio.
Yes, yeah. So you just have a wide range of products. I've sold, not thousands, hundreds of different things: shoelaces, cling film, cupcake boxes, shampoo. You name it, I've probably sold it or sold something like it. You can sell pretty much anything on Amazon.
So what prompted you to go into wholesale as opposed to retail and online?
At the time, I didn't even know there was such thing as retail arbitrage and online arbitrage, but I just found out about wholesale, and that was the way I found out that Amazon worked, via courses and YouTube and things like that. And it suited me a lot better. I, at the time, obviously just left uni, so I wanted to create a sort of stable income that I can grow as soon as possible, ideally.
So you mentioned leaving uni. Like, why did you leave uni? And like, you didn't complete university?
Didn't complete uni. No, I was there for a year. I studied geography. It was uni of Birmingham. But I did enjoy it. I enjoyed the social side of it, obviously seeing mates and things like that. But I didn't really enjoy it. And I knew I was always had sort of like a business mind. I always wanted to do something related to business. Wouldn't have done business at uni though. I wasn't interested in that way. I just didn't really enjoy it anymore. I was sort of a bit of a lost end, didn't really know what to do, just a bit, well, not stuck, it wasn't that bad, but I didn't know. I knew I would know. I was always getting that degree as a sort of backup to fall back on, and I'd sort of see safety net, see what happened once I'd finished uni, see if I had this idea or that idea and go out and try those. If they didn't work, I can get, your set job that you require a degree for, and move on from
did
there.
You start Amazon before you left uni, or like was this after you left?
It was just after I'd left uni. It was probably within the weeks when I was leaving, essentially. But I'd already made the decision that I was leaving. Before I started it, essentially.
And so, like, when you actually made the decision to leave, you actually didn't really know what you wanted to pursue?
No, not at the time. No, it was quite a risk.
I think that's something that's like, it's quite powerful, really. Like, you've obviously got a mindset where you back yourself enough to know that you will. Like, it didn't really matter what you fell into. You knew you'd excel.
I knew at the end of the day that if I didn't, I'd try my best to, obviously, with whatever it was. If Amazon didn't work from tomorrow, I'd go on and do the next thing. Do you know what I mean? But at the time, I just wasn't enjoying it. Uni, I knew if I really, really, worst of the worst, needed to go back to uni, do it again, get a degree. I'd have more debt, this, that, and the other, but I still knew that I had the grades and whatever to go back. So if I really did need that 9 to 5, it sounds cliche, doesn't it? But if you ever did need it, you could go back and get it. You'd be a couple of years delayed, but.
So what sort of like, why did you avoid that 9 to 5? Why have you felt the need to sort of take this route and not adopt what is traditional? And did your family try to push you into a 9 to 5? How did they feel about it?
Well, yes, I thought you were going to say, did they push me into that? They didn't particularly try to push me into a 9 to 5, but I wouldn't say they were like super pleased when I said I was dropping out of uni. Understandably, I didn't really know what I was going to do, didn't really have like any set plans and things like that. But obviously they've been supportive when they see the results and things like that over time. But I've just never really wanted to work for someone. It sounds ridiculous. That's what everyone says, isn't it? But like, I've always wanted more. I see people on yachts. I see people doing this, that, and the other, and I think, well, I'm the same age as you, or I've come from the same, you know. I haven't got a silver spoon. You know what I mean? Why can't I do it? So I just thought,
and that's it. Like,
I'll try.
I think it goes back to like another, maybe a cliche term, but it's not like, if you're not taking risks yourself, you're going to work for someone who is.
100%.
And then the owner of the company is never going to pay you enough to be living next door to them.
No.
Like, so you've got to do it on yourself at some point. Like, you've got to have like that initiative to be a self-starter.
Exactly.
And like, for me, like, that's something that I sort of realised at uni, where like, I was like, my circle at uni was very, very close. Like, we were close-knit, but so like maybe around 4 or 5 friends that I've got that I know I could count on from uni, and I know that every single one of them is going to be extremely successful in their field.
Yeah.
But we kept ourselves very reserved from everyone else. Like, we didn't follow the party culture, the sort of like I had people at uni that were literally there just to party. Like, they were like, I was like,
I'd say more than 50% are at uni
like,
just to party.
Like, for me, it was like, you don't even need to go to uni to do this. Like, you could just live in a town where there is.
I still go to uni parties now, and I don't go to uni. I've got a lot of mates at uni. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm friends with a lot of people that I went to school with, and 99% of them went to uni.
And so, out of your friends that like, I know you've sort of like got an operation in place. Have you had any of your friends from uni work for yourself, or because you haven't got like your own like?
Yeah, so I have a couple of units in a storage unit. It's sort of risk adverse when you use a storage unit. I don't know if you've seen with like big units, and there's loads of smaller, different sized units inside. But the one I'm at, you can sort of go up in size. You can add extra units. You can downgrade. You know what I mean? So, and they've got forklifts. You can do pallets. They'll send and receive deliveries for you. So it's a good place to start really, until you've got, you know, tons and tons of pallets coming in and tons of stock. But if you're picking your products correctly, you don't particularly need a huge warehouse. You see a lot of people like, oh, got a new warehouse today. Do you know what I mean? Because they're selling products that you can stick 60 of them on a pallet. I buy some things in and you can fit 4,000 of them on a pallet, and that's 3 months stock in one pallet. Do you know what I mean? So you have to, it's expensive. You have to think about your costs. A 400 square foot unit now is, well, in the West Midlands, is probably around £750. So it's a lot of money, really. So
what, like, how did you get to the point where you were actually scaling this to the point where you were getting your own units? Like, so I presume when you started, was everything going to your mum and dad's house? Like,
yes, yeah. When I first started, everything was coming to my parents' house. Obviously, you don't order pallets at the start. You're just ordering smaller test orders. You know, a box of 50 things, a box of 100 things. But that grows and grows and grows, and as you put more money into it, but you're also making money off the products. You've got more money to spend, essentially. And from there, you have more and more and more and more. I have a photo. If you can put it in, I'll get the photo. Okay. It's my kitchen, and there must be about 40 boxes in there. And I remember I spent all night until like midnight, and then the morning after, ages and ages and ages, put the UPS labels on it so that UPS can collect it the next day. And the kitchen's just full of units and units and units.
I'm guessing your parents weren't best pleased.
No. We got like a second lounge dining room, and that was just like you could see through the windows. My stock room, basically.
It's the exact same with me with Yeezys. Like 6-7 years ago, when we had Yeezys coming out of our ears, and like my parents were like, something needs to happen here. Something needs to change. Like, there's no way that my living room is going to become your stock room for the rest of your time.
Exactly.
But like,
you can pay them rent and whatever, but they still don't like
it. Doesn't
compensate,
does it? No. So like, how long did it take you to go from working, like starting your journey, receiving your test orders, and then getting into getting your own units and stuff like that? So
when you first start, obviously still do test orders now, but a test order, in case people don't know, say you found a new product. You have softwares and things like that, so you can see how often that product's selling. But sometimes there'll be variations on the listing, and the software isn't always right 100% of the time. You'd usually say the listing said it sold 500 times a month. you'd usually buy, 20 or 30 just as a test to send in. And obviously if they sell in 2, 3, 4 days, that it's correct, and then you can go out and buy 2 weeks worth of stock or a month's worth of stock and get a better price usually then as well. So I still do test orders now for some products like that. Obviously, as time goes on, you can sort of tell in a way whether the software is working correctly and things like that. But I was at home for a while. Obviously, it was in COVID when I first started, and I didn't have a car. So obviously, I just crashed my car, so my parents weren't letting me be insured on their cars. That's if the insurance would have even let me with a claim on there. And then every single penny that I had and had saved up and had from the car insurance, I was putting into Amazon anyway. So I was in no position to go out and buy a car at that time. So it took me a while. I was probably at home for a good 4 months or so in COVID, just sort of using every single penny that I had to put into Amazon and spending all night long on the computer. It was crazy. I had a terrible sleep schedule. I used to wake up at like midday and then just have breakfast or whatever, and then I'd start working at like 3 p.m. and work until like 7 a.m. in the morning, and then go to sleep and then wake up at like 3 p.m. the next day. Do you know what I mean? It was just constant work, but it obviously paid off. And then eventually, towards the end, my mum eventually did let me insure myself on her car, and that meant that I could then go to the unit that I was looking for. And the day I was insured, I drove straight to the storage unit and put a deposit down on one. And then from there, I could obviously have pallets coming in and things like that. I think it was 100 square foot, the one I started in, really small, and then within 2 weeks upgraded to it was a 400 square foot one, so a lot more. And at that sort of time, God, when that would have been, it was a long time ago now, a lot of people were doing home baking at the time. So everyone was crazy about baking. And there was also a plastic and paper shortage. Don't ask me why, but there was a plastic and paper shortage. So I found these cake boxes. It's like cupcake boxes. You can open them up. You can fit like 6 cup, but there was variation for 4 cupcakes, 6 cupcakes, and 12 cupcakes. And I just kept digging deeper to find the cheapest supplier. And eventually I was on something like the 7th page of Google. I'd already found some suppliers that would do them for a good price, and eventually found this really good supplier for them and spoke to them. They were like, oh yeah, we can get them in. It'll be this price, which was like quite expensive at the time. But yeah, that's fine. When can you get them to me? They were like, well, we'll put the order in with the factory because there's already like a backlogged order. They were like, they'll be with you in about a month and a half. And I was thinking, oh, blimey. I was like, I'm going to have to buy a lot of them. So at the time, I think I brought about 4 or 5 pallets of them, and it must have been about $5,000 worth of stock just on one invoice. And I'd never spent that much money in my life before. I brought my car. That was the most expensive thing I'd brought. So I put all that money into cupcake boxes, which sounds insane. You got £5,000 sitting there in paper. But at the time, I didn't realise how much of an opportunity it was. If I could go back now, I would have spent crazy on them. But I didn't realise that no one could get them. So I was bringing these cupcakes in, and a box of 25, a box of 25 used to cost me about £6 or £7. But in the absolute height of it, I was selling them for £26 on Amazon. Christ. And some days I was selling 150 of them a day. And that was just one variation. So at that point, I was turning over like thousands a day. And I remember as summer was coming round, because it lasted for quite a while, I had a car at this point again. I'd brought another car at this point. And I went to the gym with my friends. We have like a pool at the gym that I go to. It's the David Lloyd. And we were outside at the pool. I remember refreshing it, and I was on like $3,500 for the day in sales, and I was thinking, this is insane. Obviously, at the time, the profit margins were crazy. It was like 40% profit margin, so you can do the maths on that. And we left the pool, and my mate was taking me home, had a shower and whatever. In the way home, I opened my Amazon seller app, refreshed it. It went from $3,500 to just under $6,000 in about like 40 minutes. And I don't know why it went up so much in that time. People were probably coming home from work or whatever, but I was just like sold at that point. I was doing so well from it. And
sort of like, was that at what point did you realise that like Amazon was for you. This was something you wanted to pursue. Was it around
Most likely those cake boxes, you'll stumble across a product that just clicks. Yeah. I don't sell them anymore because the prices come right back down. You can't even make money on them anymore. But that was the sort of time that I was like, this is insane. Like that was the crazy month that was.
And I think this is just another like important like lesson to touch on. Like your life can change like at any point with something that is totally unprecedented, something that's totally like unexpected. Like I was selling Yeezys and training stuff for years, but I never thought it would become a full-time income for me. I thought it was always going to be my little side hustle.
Exactly. And that's what I was thinking at the start. I never thought Amazon, you could scale it to a level that it would pay you like a very good full-time wage.
Yeah. And then you've had cake boxes essentially change your life.
Yeah. If you told me I was going to sell that many cake boxes in a month, I wouldn't have believed you.
And and as well, just for everyone who's listening, Jake, you're only 20 years old, aren't you?
21. Just turned 21 in March. Yeah.
21 years old and already done all this, reached 7 figures. So, like, if you're going to listen from anyone, please take note of this. Okay?
It's definitely possible. It's a lot of work. Don't think like you can just, do a course.
On that then, so you say it's a lot of work, so what's your daily schedule normally like?
It completely depends on the day. That's the thing. Some days I'll be in the warehouse. If I've got stock coming in, then I'll be in the warehouse. I sometimes have friends from uni, like you asked earlier. I never got around to answering that question. I have a lot of mates who like work in bars and things like this, and I'll offer them to come work for me. So at the time we were doing cake boxes, I'd pay them £8 an hour, and I could have 3 of them in there packing all these cake boxes. And I'd get them out and sold so I could get even more in faster. So that'd be better than me spending a whole week there, 10 in a bag, close the bag, 10 in a bag, close the bag. It was obviously at a much more accelerated rate. So it was really, really good with cake boxes.
So since how did you work to sort of spot the trends? Like how does it work with what you're doing, and like you said you've got a portfolio of 50 products. How do you sort of cherry pick those products?
So that's the hardest part. That's the most time consuming part. So like I was saying earlier, some days I'm in the warehouse, some days I'll be at home literally on the computer all day sourcing products essentially. Obviously you have to have some days you're doing accounting and checking your cash flows and placing the orders and things like that. There's a lot of different parts of running the business. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of different credit cards, a lot of different bank cards, things like that, speaking to your accountant and stuff. I don't particularly work on trends because again, I'd done that with cake boxing. I bought too many in the end. I was buying too many, so I had tons left over that I couldn't get rid of because I was like, well, this is just going to keep going up. You don't know when it's going to drop off. But as soon as COVID was over, it just everything went back to normal. The prices went down. Everyone could get them, and plus everyone had gone back to work. No one was furloughed. No one was baking. So now I tend to try and focus on products that people would buy all the time. For example, like I don't know, shoelaces or
something that's recession-proof, pandemic-proof.
It don't matter what's going on. You're going to need it, like shampoo. It don't matter. It's raining, shining, Christmas, Easter. You're still buying shampoo, aren't you, at the end of the day? So you can focus on things that are more seasonal. And I do have products that sell better in the winter, but still sell well in the summer, but nowhere near as they do in winter. But obviously you can forecast that and manage that.
And so, like, in terms of building these relationships with suppliers and stuff, how easy is it to get access to these wholesale accounts?
So obviously when you're starting, you're not VAT registered, you don't have like a business email address and things like that. If you don't know what you're doing at the start, it can be a lot harder. You can go to wholesalers, like there's famous wholesalers like Harrison's, things like that anyone can access. I mean, if you didn't even have a company or you weren't a sole trader or anything like that, you just put your email address and password and you can access it, so the public can access it essentially. And that is usually where you start, and you'll sell like 6-pack of this, 6-pack of that, things like that. But as you grow and you learn how to email different people, you learn how to find email addresses of people higher up at certain brands and things like that. I tend to say I'll find a brand of product that sells well on Amazon, rather than trying to find that a wholesaler. I'll try to go to the distributor, or if possible, I'll try to go directly to the brand. And a lot of the times you can do that. It just takes a lot of time. They might not reply to your emails. It's a lot of trial and error. It will take a long time. But usually there's not many people who do have access to buy those products at the price you can buy them from the brand. A lot of people will be able to buy them at a wholesale price, but they'll never be able to compete with you because you're getting it for a much better price. So it definitely takes a while. It definitely takes a lot of skill, but crafting relationships with brands, suppliers and wholesalers, because you can still make a lot of money off wholesalers, is ideal, really, and it's really important thing to keep up.
So when you started like with sort of like your wholesale, what and you've obviously learned how to deal with suppliers and stuff like that. Had you picked up those skills from any of the previous work that you've done, like Waitrose? Was it like sort of learning how to deal with customers, or is it something that you just had to develop on your own and as you've been going?
I'd say it's a sort of mix. I think if you can learn how to email someone in a very professional manner, as you probably did in the work that you've done before, it's really, really, really valuable. If I email a brand from jake@gmail.co.uk 2006, you know what I mean? It's not going to work. You have to really make sure that you're making... I'm just sitting in my bedroom on my laptop sourcing products. I'm looking like, I have a big office in London.
You want them to think that you're a huge corporate client, and like you can market yourself that way. So it's totally it comes down to personal branding.
And then those people are going to treat you in that way because they're going to think that you're going to spend a lot of money with them, which in most of the time you will if they're giving you good prices, and then know that it's not just going to be like a one-time order. You're going to keep ordering with them. You're going to be interested in their other products and things like that, and maybe not just sell those products on Amazon. You could sell them on eBay. If you're working with a brand, you can even distribute that brand's products to wholesalers and other Amazon sellers and different stores and things like that. There's endless opportunities that you can get from sort of crafting these brands and relationships. But I obviously I had no idea how to speak to customers and things like that, but I did get a lot of that from Waitrose and working in sort of a public space like that. Exactly. And then obviously you get trained a little bit in uni and school how to sort of type emails in the correct manner, kind regards and all that jazz. But having like a really good email signature, logo, website, separate business phone number, things like that, that's all included in your email signature and all links together and is all legit and is the same and matches up, is obviously also really important and makes you look like, not just a 21-year-old sitting in his bedroom, really. And
I guess whilst we're sort of on this topic, this is something that I imagine the course that you're going to be bringing to Aftermarket Arbitrage, it's going to sort of cover all of this. So from what we've spoke about, I'm aware that this course is basically going to be an A to C guide. So it's not going to cover products. It's not going to give members a product, but it's going to show them exactly how to do what you've just been talking about.
Exactly.
How to brand yourself, how to reach out to these people, how to sort of find the right product. And make sure you can
how to run the whole business in general in the most efficient manner, really.
Is there anything else as well that it touches on?
Accountancy, things like that. Basically, everything that you'd need to do
to get to your point
will be included. Everything that I know and have learned to get to my point now, all that knowledge will be included essentially.
So when you started, you didn't pay for a course, did you?
I paid for a few different courses.
Did you pay any of the big ticket ones though?
I think the one I paid for was about £600. But I did a few free ones. I paid for a few cheaper ones and did it through YouTube and things like that. And that's essentially how I learned. It was all those sort of combined together over a sort of long period of time.
Yeah. And sort of now what we're going to do is sort of redistribute all of that information that you've acquired, all that knowledge that you've learned, and give it back to members and help them essentially try and build them up to sort of be at your level.
The thing is with courses and things like that, a lot of the time it's just they'll teach you what you need to know for the first 2 months, and after that you have to find things out, which I did. You have to do a lot of Googling, a lot of research. You will have all these different problems with suppliers and things like that. There will always be problems and issues to solve. And obviously our course will include all of those things rather than just the start, essentially.
Yeah, like, because we don't intend to sort of leave people hanging dry, do we?
Well, they'll get lifetime support in there. We have trained staff who will be trained in wholesale by the time that the course is released as well. And obviously I'll be available in there. We can obviously do like one-to-one calls and things like that if it's needed, if people are really struggling. And yeah, so it should be really, really good. I'm looking forward to teaching.
Yeah, and like, I think for you as well, like, you'll also then, like, there's monetary gain, but then you'll also get that intrinsic gain where you actually see, you get to appreciate
other people succeeding.
You get to appreciate how much your knowledge is worth in the sense of you've been able to positively impact someone's life, and I think that's massive. Like, and like, I think a lot of people, like me included, like, I value that more so than monetary gain. Because
exactly, yeah.
If you know you've had a positive impact on someone's life, like, and you've never even met them, like, you don't really know anything about them, but you know that no matter what, like, they'll always essentially eternally be grateful.
Exactly.
And like, you doing that right there is you leaving your stamp on the world.
Yeah,
like, it's like, no matter what, like, you know, you've helped that person. Like, let's say, God forbid, your Amazon shop fails. At least you know in your head, right, I did X, Y, Z, and this person will be grateful forever for it. And like, that's something that, like, with a lot of jobs, like, I know we keep referring to, but your traditional 9 to 5, like, if you're just working like at a desk, like doing, I don't know, anything
in a bank, like you do, it's very,
you don't really get that.
You're not adding anything from the world. You're just making
really
someone else richer.
You're not really adding value. You're more so just a cog in the system.
Yeah,
and
lining someone else's pockets, essentially.
Yeah, exactly.
Which there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people say, you know, that there's nothing wrong with doing a 9 to 5. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't slate anyone who does a 9 to 5. If you want a secure income every single month, there's a lot of people who make 6 figures and above from a 9 to 5, and that's completely fine. But some people want that, or don't particularly want, but are happy and comfortable with having that extra risk, those credit card bills, etc., and want to work when they want to work.
For me, anyone who's got a 9 to 5 and is truly happy, I congratulate them.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I'm 100%. Insanely jealous.
I guarantee they worked incredibly hard to get to that level.
I'm insanely jealous. Like, even, let's say, yes, someone who's worked extremely hard and they've achieved 6-7 figures from the 9 to 5, or even the person that's earning minimum wage but they're still happy. I am like jealous, because for me, there's something in my head that stops me from, like, that could not be me.
No,
so for me, I started off my first job. I was working in a chemical factory. I was literally filling up like 20-litre drums with chemical, screwing a lid on, sticking a sticker on, £5 an hour. Same thing every single day, like hamster wheel. Like, and like, I was just like, I did a summer there, and I was just like, my mind at the end of it was blown. I was like, how is this, like, how are people, like, the people around me are all happy, but like, and I was like, I just couldn't be happy. Like, I was like, I don't get it. Like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
I think people like us who are interested in business and things like that, and I'm sure me and you will go on to do many more things.
We're going to have so many more ventures. Like, for anyone listening right now, like, me and Jake have already spoke about this. Like, we know that what we're doing right now is definitely not the end goal.
No, like, I probably will not be doing Amazon. Well, I may be doing Amazon for the rest of my life, but it's not, you know, I see a lot more potential, and I'm sure you do as well.
Like, we know that, like, I think we're at a point now where we think that we could probably we could start anything and somehow make it a success. We could be consistent enough, and we're motivated, we're driven to not let it fail.
I think consistency is very important, isn't it? And, you know, just putting in the work. At the end of the day, a lot of people, they'll be like, oh, I want to try this, I want to try that, but then they don't want to spend the money, the initial investment. They don't want the risk, they don't want that, and that's fine if you don't want to do it, but then you can't moan at people who are doing it and have put in the hours and have put all that money on the line. Because when I started, it might not have worked out, and I could have lost that £5,000. But at that point, I was like, I didn't really care. I could just go get a job. It would take me a while, but I'll make that 5k back. It didn't bother me.
And like, we see this with Aftermarket, where we get a sign up, and immediately people think, oh, I don't like Discord. I'm not being handed money on a silver platter. Get me out. This isn't for me. And then like, this is a scam.
Yeah,
it doesn't work.
Instantly.
Yeah,
if they don't put the work in, if they don't sign up for X amount a month, if you're not giving them £200 a month, it's a scam.
Yeah. And like, then I'm like, please refer to this member who made £12,000 last month. No, I can't do that.
Exactly.
Like, no, you can do that. It's your mindset that's limiting you. Like,
and that's fine. It's better for people like that to just leave and go on and do what they want to do, and that's fine.
We've got to that point now where we sort of like, with our customer service, like originally we'd try and make everyone stay. Yeah. But we've got pretty good now at gauging a person, and now we're like, if someone is that certain and that against it, like we just let them, like we don't even try and like gather, well, we always gather feedback, but we don't even try and persuade them to stay. Like our most successful member today tried to leave on his first day.
Really?
Yeah. First day, he was like, this isn't for me. And was like, no, just stick it out.
Just try it.
And now all he does full-time reseller, he has made so much money. And then he's now on Amazon. So he's in the Amazon section. He contributes to member leads every single day. I'll give him a shout out. Pablos, you know Pablos? Yeah. Everyone knows him in Aftermarket Arbitrage. He's
famous member.
He is. He's a great guy, and his story is something that I feel like everyone can learn from. It's like literally just, you are at the first hurdle. Like for us, our platform, like, it might not be the most user-friendly at first. Yes. But you spend half an hour and then you're used to it.
Yeah. I hated Discord. I hated Discord.
This is what I want to say to people. I owned the company and I hated Discord. Yeah. When I first come onto it, when I was first started in trainers, we all used to be on a platform called Slack, which is like, now it's more
commercial, isn't it? Yeah, more corporate.
So then when I switched to Discord, I was like, what is going on here?
Yeah,
like,
it's just a mess, isn't it? It looks like a mess. Tons of notifications everywhere.
But if you get over that first hurdle, you're willing to stick it out, you get that first sale, you make that first bit of profit. Once you've done that, you're hooked. Yeah. Like, and you don't want to stop then.
Yeah, 100%.
Why would you want to? Like, you then realise that you've probably just made the easiest money of your life, and then
this is cost you what, a month?
Yeah, exactly. Like, and then we see like that, and that's what we say as well. If you're spending like £30 a month for membership, it's very hard for you to not make that back. Like you have been trying hard to not make that money back. Like,
or you just haven't tried it.
Yeah, literally. It's one or the other. It's crazy how we're doing it all right now. But yeah, like progressing with the Amazon, and we sort of like we noted, and to everyone watching, I basically reached out to Jake through Instagram when I started to notice that.
It's back in, must have been November, December now.
It was ages ago when we first spoke. And because consoles were starting to drop off a little bit, sneakers weren't doing too well, the reselling market as a whole was taking a bit of a hit. But I have ownership in an Amazon-based company that is just Amazon-based Discord, and I seen that company booming, and I was like, right, we need to integrate this into Aftermarket, and this is essentially going to be what we might end up having to move towards going forward, just for that consistent income.
Even still, it's another branch. It's another revenue stream, and it makes Aftermarket more desirable as against its competitors, because you can join and have XYZ, Amazon, this, that, and the other, all included in the same Discord, rather than just selling shoes and consoles, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that, but.
And that's why it's
the whole package.
So we spotted that. I then reached out to Jake, and I seen how well Jake was doing, and we sort of went from there. And like, because now with reselling, there's a lot of big, let's say big ticket profits. Like a console, for example, you can make 150, 200 quid a console.
Definitely.
Amazon is going to be a lot less profit.
Oh yeah, way less.
But it's consistent. And for that person that wants the consistent income, like for me, Amazon, go that way.
Yeah.
Like that is where you need to be.
It takes a lot more work, 100%. It's not just you go on and you purchase a PS5, you can get one of them a week. You know, if that's a good week, and then make £100 on each one, obviously that's still good. But obviously with Amazon, some of the things you're selling are, I've sold things before for £6 and you just make £1 on them, but if you can sell 75 of those a day, £75 a day. So alongside all the other products that you have included, you'd be crazy not to do it, really. But I tried AMA myself. I don't know if you knew, but
no, I didn't.
Yeah. When I don't know if it was after or before you'd messaged me, but I tried it myself. I think it must have been after you messaged me, but I'd never tried it. But I thought, I'll have a look into this. But it's a bit free money, isn't it? While I was working anyway, and I had a couple of PS5s from it. Within like the first month, and I paid for it. It was no freebie. I paid for AMA myself.
You were also in the NFT Emporium as well,
yes. I just didn't have enough time in the end because I'm busy with Amazon, but it's definitely something that I want to get back into, especially after speaking to yourself.
Just for anyone watching, we're going to do a shameless plug right now. So I also own the NFT Emporium with a couple of other guys, and a quick we have members making crazy money and like NFT,
stupid money.
It's like life-changing money. So like, for example, this weekend I was at a party, I was drunk, took my laptop with me, and then got 3 NFTs, sold one of them already. So I got 3 NFTs for a total of $12,000. Sold one of them already for $100,000. The other 2 are sat at $60,000. It's like, where else can you make, like, for some, like in my old job, I would have probably had to work 5 years for that.
More.
And I've done it. Yeah, I've done it in a night, and I was drunk, and like it was like within hours, like, and it's like
click like that.
Literally, like no work. I didn't have to. There was no intent to labour. It was a couple of clicks on my keyboard. Like, it was the easiest money I've ever made. And it's like, again, this is like not even like, you don't even have to look at Amazon. You don't have to look at Aftermarket. Don't look at the NFT Emporium. People should be broadening
just open your eyes in general.
Look at everything around you. Like, if you're in your job, or you're at uni or at school, whatever you're doing, and you are not satisfied, look around you, because you're going to find someone somewhere who's driving a Ferrari, like lives in a mansion, and they're going to be doing something that you had never involved.
It always is. It always is.
Like, we know someone, so like one of our family friends, like insanely rich from selling bin bags. A bin bag who would think of that? Like, it's like, there is always going to be something that like people never even think about. And that's it. Like, I'm not pushing. Like, this whole podcast is not to push.
It's just we're just talking about business and
it's
outlooks
to
on
push
life.
People to actually think outside the box, and like to actually take control of your life, and like sort of like, why? Like, for me, well, I can say for me, it might sound easy. It's like,
it's easier for us to say, isn't it? Because we've done it now, so we look at just doing a normal job and that's it, and coming home and just being like, that's crazy, I couldn't do it now. But I think there's so much opportunity around nowadays. It's just, I mean, NFTs, there's so many different things, and it's, I mean, I know you're not saying like, join AMA, but like, it's on your doorstep. You can just pay for it, and it's all there in your face for free. Literally handed to you on the plate. You've just got to do it. Do you know what I mean?
Just a little bit of initiative.
I think a lot of the time, I've spoke to a lot of my friends about starting Amazon and things like that, or just starting anything. And a lot of the time, I think people like me and you, and people who are involved in businesses and things like that, small, large, I don't care if you sell a PS5 a month or whether you own £1 million company. A lot of the time you've just got to have that little key turned in your head, and once you turn that, the top opens and you can just see everything, and it sounds crazy, but like, you're just thinking, oh, there's this opportunity, that opportunity. I'm not saying go leave your 9 to 5, but you can do a 9 to 5 and spend 3 hours on the night every single night, and you double your monthly wage like that, doing it could be anything. You could start selling bin bags if you want. You could do anything, just go out and try it.
Exactly. I've got a prime example here from starting Aftermarket. So I cannot code at all, no computer science background, and I now own like a software product and sell software. And I can't code. Like, I never even dreamed that I would be able to sell. Like, this isn't Aftermarket related. This is another company,
completely separate,
completely unrelated. And I own a software company. I sell software, and I make decent money from it. And I cannot code at all. But I just employed someone who could, someone who's smarter than me.
Saw a gap in the market,
and spotted the gap, took advantage of it, and that's it. It's like, once you start, And you, like I said, you open up.
Yeah.
You then think, right.
You see all these opportunities.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't think that it's not possible.
Yeah, yeah.
You thought, oh, you know what? I'll pay someone to do
That's
it.
literally.
It's going to cost me X amount. Yes, that's a risk. That's money on the line. I might not sell any of it. But if you do sell it, then it's just once you've paid off that guy, what you got to do? It's free cash.
That is it. Exactly what you said there. Once you've got that first bit of success, let's say, nothing, you look at nothing anymore as impossible.
No,
like everything is feasible. Like you're like,
100%.
actually, I probably could do that. Like there is a way that I could do it. Like, and then you start digging into it. Like I've been looking at setting up another company for a physical product that I would never have ever dreamed of.
Yeah.
Like a food related product. Got no experience in it. I've just started firing out emails, inquiring,
but
and just
you've started.
Yeah, exactly.
It might not turn to anything, but at least you've started sending those emails, and then you might get one back that gives you the next step, and then the next step, and then by the end of it, you've got another company going.
Yeah, exactly. And then like at the end of the day, even if it doesn't materialise to anything, I'm still speaking to multiple suppliers, multiple people in that industry, and then I'm learning about an industry that I would have never ever known. Like, and making connections. Like, so
you and at the end of the day, that at this stage hasn't cost you a penny either. It's cost you some time.
Just time. Yeah.
Just sending some emails, and you're going to make new connections, and eventually you might, someone might come up to you and think, oh, I've got this idea, but I need this food supply, and you're like, oh, well, I spoke to one before. Let me get back in touch with them, and I'll sort you out. And you have connections everywhere. It seems
building your network for me has been the biggest, most important thing ever. Like
100%.
Like a bit of it's like I did internships. So I did an internship at a hedge fund when I was focused on working in finance, and I got that internship through networking through 5 people. Started off with a guy from the gym, networked through 5 different people, ended up being put in touch with the partner at one of the biggest hedge funds in the UK, one of the successful guys in the UK, chief economist there, and I was like, how has this happened? Like, it's just, if you can build connections and people like you, you're not an arrogant prick.
Yeah, obviously.
Like you've got to think and this happens to me all the time. So now, my mate, right? Well, not to digress, but if you are a young person that's enthusiastic, anyone who's had a bit of success will want to help you, and they want to give back. Like everyone who I met to get through that network seen something in me and then wanted to help. Yeah. Like they've already had their success.
Because they can see themselves in you.
Yeah. And then for me now, it got to a point where so one of my mates is looking at starting a company and totally unrelated to anything I do, no experience. And he's asked me for a couple of grand to help get started up. And I was like, yes, of course. Because
you would have
died
for that when you were first starting and you were stuck in the £5 hour job.
Then you give back and you help people, you build your network, you build those bridges, because you don't know when you're going to need them.
Exactly, because later down the line, that's an investment for you as well, because no doubt with your help and other people's help and people help, hopefully that business will go on and make a lot of money, but that probably won't be that guy's only business. I'm sure he'll go out and do X, Y, Z, who it might be a business that you can help out with, and then you're 50-50 on this business. And what have you done? You've given him £3,000, then he's giving it you back, and you know what I mean? I think a lot of the time, the best thing you can do is just talk to people. It doesn't matter who they are. In my gym, I always sit in the steam room and the sauna at my gym, and people just sit there just not talking. And sometimes I'll just be like, oh, bloody hot in here today, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And then it sparks a conversation, and I've met so many different people, car dealers, people who do Amazon, people who run this company, that company, just through talking to them. And it's wherever you go, if you're going to, if you can go to the fancy places, hang out in the nice areas and things like that, speak to people, they won't care. A lot of these people want to talk anyway. And you can build connections.
At the end of the day, a lot of people, it's stroking their ego.
Yeah,
so if they know they're successful and you're like, what do you do? They want to tell you. They want to broadcast that to you.
Especially if they're older people as well, because they're just looking at us thinking, oh, this guy just goes to uni and just parties every weekend, do you know what I mean? When deep down we actually are interested in what we're doing, and then when you explain what you do or what I do, they're actually like, oh, I wasn't expecting that, do you know what I mean? Then they're like, oh, I actually have this product that I do distribute to people on Amazon, but I just want one person to sell it to the price holder and things like that. And there you go. Do you know what I mean? I mean, it doesn't happen that easily. You can't just walk down the street and talk to someone and, you make money from them. But obviously networking is so powerful. But again, we always talk about doing this, doing that, doing this. Like you were talking about doing that company. The first thing you got to do is just start it. So to start networking, all you got to do is just go to your gym and just start talking to people, or send that first email. Once you've done that first thing, it's so easy to carry on then.
It's literally it's like that first little hurdle in it.
100%.
It's once you start, everything changes.
Yeah, exactly. And it's the same I still have it today with certain things that I don't want to do. I think of different ideas and things like that. I'm like, I've enough on my plate with Amazon, this, that, and the other. And you think, you know what? I'll just do that first email, and then you're on a roll. Then you're working towards it, and then you start seeing progression.
That's it. So let's take it back.
Divulge quite a lot there, haven't we?
let's have a look back at the Amazon. So I'm interested to know, how long did it take you to go from 0 to 6 figures?
0 to 6 figures. Oh God, I would say about 4 months, probably, something like that.
So there you go.
With the cake boxes, I remember that would have been 4 or 5 months in, and I remember that month of cake boxes, I did 79k in sales in a month. But
just
that was
cake boxes,
just from, well, there would have been a few other small products in there, probably $5,000 of that would have been really small products that I was just testing out and things. But those cake boxes were at about a 40% profit margin. So that the money I made in that month was insane. And obviously you won't get those profit margins often. You don't get 40% profit margins doing wholesale on Amazon that often. You can get them. Of course you can get them. But they are few and far between, and when they come and it's a supply issue or a demand issue, you've got to jump on it straight away.
So what? So you mentioned to me about a product earlier. So we're not going to name the product. But you mentioned about profit, the unit. Sort of. Could you run us through that?
Yes. So that again, it's a product that I've been selling for a while, but again is like a semi-seasonal product without giving too much away. And I just noticed recently that the price has gone up slightly. There's less people selling it, and I went on my software and checked the sales, because I hadn't been selling it for a little bit. I was like, I'll check the sales, and it gone through the roof, and I was thinking, why's that happened? And the time of the year is related to the product, like being in spring sort of season. And I looked at the sales and I was like, these sales are insane. I'm going to buy some more. And this one of the products that I import from other countries. So at the start, I focused just on like UK suppliers. I can send you an email and usually I get the products within 2 days. But some things I do import from other countries, other continents even, not just Europe, and they do take longer to come. So I got about 1,000 of these products in, and at the price they were selling at, they were making, it would have been about £3.75 profit per unit, and those 1,000 sold in 4 days.
It's actually laughable, and it's crazy.
It's insane. So I ordered, after I saw the first day's sales, I ordered another 1,000, and then once the 4 days had gone, I ordered another 2,000. So that 1,000 that I brought were gone, and then the other 1,000 the other day arrived, packaged them up, put them on a pallet and sent them off, and the other 2,000 are on the way. So a lot of the time you're waiting, if that makes sense, for things to come in, but obviously that's like extenuated with things that you're bringing in from abroad. If it's UK, it's a lot faster. But again, that's still a lot of risk. Like, that's a lot of money tied up. They certainly cost me a lot more than £3.75 per unit. They make that much in profit, but they cost me a lot more per unit. So to be going around and buying 3,000 of them in a week is crazy. And that's where you have to look at different financing options and bank loans and credit cards and things like that, and make sure that you're reinvesting the profits that you're making. Obviously, try and keep as much money in the business as possible. I take out what I need when I need it, and sort of live a life below your means, if that makes sense, which I'm sure you do as well sometimes.
So I was just going to say, I've been struggling with that recently. So that was just
join the club.
I was just about to lead on to the next question, where you're talking about that. So, being a young lad, you obviously, the world's your oyster.
Yeah,
you're young, your mates are at uni, you're making good money. How are you like sort of allocating your money in terms of like not saying indulging, but are you someone that like a personality type that will switch off and let yourself enjoy your money, or are you like more hard focused on reinvesting all of that and just business?
It completely depends, really. I will always invest the absolute majority of the money that I make each month. I never really would ever spend more than 20% of what I've made in a month. I try and reinvest as much as possible, because your business bank account, in theory, when you're doing Amazon, is basically a savings account. You put money in, take it out to buy products, and then more money comes back in, so you can buy more products, in and out, recycling the money. So the less that you can take out, the better, because obviously you've got more spending power. You can buy products for cheaper if you're buying more units of them. But when it comes to spending, I suppose I do spend quite a lot compared to your average 21-year-old, as I'm sure you probably do as well. But you've got to enjoy yourself. I think you do have to enjoy yourself. The amount of stress that we go through with this bill, that bill, and the amount of hours and work that you put in now. I mean, what time is it now? It's probably about 7 p.m. now, and we're not finished for the day at all, are we? So you put in a lot of work. So I will go out on the weekend and I'll see my mates. I love socialising. I have a really, really, really good group of mates. And I probably would not work nowhere near as hard if I didn't have such a good group of mates that I could, I don't mind working hard in the week because I can go out and see all my mates and really enjoy myself on the weekend.
And that's probably where, like, sort of it comes full circle, where in the sense that, you might spend more, but that, like, you're making good money, but then you can go back and you if you have like such a good time with your friends, like, you're actually like creating like valuable memories. You're not just wasting your money.
What's the point in earning a good amount of money if you're not going to enjoy your life as well? Yeah, it's nice to see it in the bank, but sometimes you got to spend. You got to get a nice car, go out for nice meals, and
life's for living at the end of the day. And, like, you might
go on holiday on a Tuesday if you want to go on holiday on a Tuesday. You can, because it don't matter. And that's what you've worked to get to that level.
And this is like something that we should probably touch on, like with the freedom of where we're at right now, like in the sense that having your own business, like especially like an online business, like we could probably manage to run this anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it would certainly be harder for myself, because I would have to have someone who ran the sort of warehouse side of things, which wouldn't be a problem and probably will be a necessity towards the end of the year anyway, because it's not very time efficient for me to be in the warehouse packing products at all. I'm much better, spending those 5 hours on my computer finding the next product that's going to make me another 500 quid a month, another grand a month, which is why, to be fair, for a long time now I haven't really done that. I usually do get my friends in from uni and things like that who love to just work they don't love it, but they're making more money than they would if they were just sitting at home because they didn't have any uni work to do or whatever. So it's definitely important to spend the money and enjoy your life and do what you want to do. But I think time freedom is one of the most powerful things. I would rather have time freedom than make a lot of money. I think I would rather earn 30k a year, been self-employed and being able to wake up Wednesday and be like, I don't want to do any work today, than earn 60 grand a year and be in 9 to 5 every single day and have 2 weeks holiday a year.
For me, they were like being in like corporate finance.
Well, that's like a next level, isn't it?
Yeah. And they were like, if you get to partner level, you can start earning like easy 300k a year. You can get your bonus, like you can be clearing $500,000 a year.
Easy.
But I know the guys that like are in these sort of positions, and like, so like even like I've been told through people that I've worked with that know guys that are partners at other firms that like are their neighbours. They're like, the wife and kids hate them. Yeah. Like, they work all the time. They work every weekend. Yes, they're getting good money, but can they enjoy any of it? Probably not. They get their holidays that are approved by work, and that is it. Yeah,
they'll, enjoy that. I'm sure they'll enjoy their time when they're retired, but they'll probably be retiring quite late because the people will want to keep them on for a long time in the job. And by the time you're retired, how much stress are you going to have?
Yeah. And when you retire as well, how much can you actually do?
Yeah, because you can't 50, do a life holiday, 60, by the time people are retiring our age, it's going to be like 70 years old. And I like to think, well, not like semi-retired, but like we can go out and do what we want to do and enjoy ourselves. And, have fun in our 20s, which I think is like 20 to 30, I think is the most important time when you will have
because it's the only time like
fun.
And again, like for any people that are young, like that are listening, like I think it's very important to remember that if you're living at home, you've not got like you only pay your family a little bit of rent. You've not really got. You might not have a wife or kids or anything.
Yeah.
You've literally, this is the point where the only point in your life where you've got no responsibilities.
Or risk. There's no risk either. If you mess it up, who cares?
You don't have a mortgage.
Yeah.
You've got anyone depending on you.
Minimal bills to pay. You might have to pay your phone bill a month.
Your phone bill. Yeah. And then, if you want to pay your phone bill, join Aftermarket. Sell that's all you've got to do. Like, it's so easy. Like literally, like this is the one point in your life to take risks, and like that is why I'm now like leaving my job, starting all these different companies, don't really know if it's going to work, but I'm just going to do whatever I can and
move as quickly as you can and take as many risks as you can now when you're not 30 years old and you've got to pay X amount of mortgage each month. You don't have that much disposable cash and you can't throw it around and throw it at random things and take risk. It's definitely, but I love taking risks. It sounds crazy, but I love taking risks.
I was completely risk averse, so I used to hate it. When I first started, I was the person that I'd always say the first year of Aftermarket, I saved pretty much every penny. Like I literally paid myself nothing.
Yeah, I was the exact same. I didn't pay myself a wage from the business in months because I just used that tiny little spare bit of cash that wasn't already in the business.
And that's what I was like. And then now it's like my whole perspective has changed, and it's like I'm actually going to enjoy what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm not going to be a dick. Like I'm not going to make myself. I'm not going bankrupt.
Yeah, no, of course
I'm going to pay what is feasible, but I'm still going to. I want to enjoy myself now. Like why not?
And then you see yourself enjoying yourself, and you're like, hey, I really am enjoying myself. Or I don't just want to go to Paris. I want to, I want to go to Maldives a week, and then you start working more and more and more. So you're earning that more, but you're still only spending the same percentage, which is obviously more when you're earning more. And then you can go out and do that. And then once you've been to the Maldives, you're like, oh God, I want a house here. Then it's like more and more and more. Do you know what I mean?
Have you read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad?
No, I haven't. So, I'm not a big book guy at all.
So I'm not, but I listen on Audible. So I recommend listening to it.
I should try it.
But like, honestly, so like, one of the things that they say in that book is he literally says, whenever like something is out of your price bracket, it's not I can't afford it, it's how do I afford it. And when you apply that mindset to everything's like nothing is off the cards. Like if I want a supercar, it's not I can't afford this right now. It's like what extra have I got to do?
What have I got? What business do I have to open to?
And then you start looking, then the cogs start ticking. As soon as you say I can't afford it, you switch off and your mind goes something else, and then you might be unproductive, you might watch telly. But as soon as you say how do I afford it, the juices start flowing. You start thinking, oh, actually, maybe I should think about that thing maybe I should pursue that thing that I've been thinking about for the past 5 years and never acted on, and let's see where it goes.
I think the worst thing you can do at this age, if you do want to sort of like grow yourself and earn more money, is just sit there and watch TV and do sort of time negative things. I can't remember the last TV program or film to watch. I don't have a Netflix account because I would rather just go out and socialise with my friends and get some sort of social benefit off it. And if I'm not doing that, I know I just sit there and watch it. So I don't have one, so I'll do work instead. I'll get caught up on TikTok and things like that, like I'm sure everyone does.
Of course.
But I think it's definitely important if you do have time after work and things like that, or even if you're in uni. It's really important to put time into not particularly put time into taking risks, but put time into things like this. Try Aftermarket Arbitrage, go out and try it. Try it for a month. What's it going to cost you? £40, something like that. It's not very expensive. I mean, that's a lot of money to some people, and that's fine. But the risk to reward ratio is pretty large for that, small expenditure.
Exactly. So, I know I've touched on it earlier. We went from 0 to 6 figures. 6 to 7.
6 to 7. So I've done 7 figures in the last rolling 12 months, if that makes sense. So today's date to however long ago. So I've been doing Amazon for... I'm trying to work it out. So it would have taken me quite a while to hit that 7 figures in a roll in 12 months, if that makes sense. Probably within the last few months did I get up to that rolling figure, if that makes sense,
It's still brilliant though.
Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
No, it's absolutely crazy to think that like you've produced a store that has done 7 figures in revenue in like, and you're 21 years old. Like, it's like...
If you would... See, you say it now and it's just like... Yeah, I know. It's just like a number on the screen. Like, I don't really care. We acclimatise ourselves to these numbers and things and these bills and whatever. But when you step back and think like 7 figures in sales is pretty insane. Like, for anyone, I don't care how old you are.
This is the exact same thing what I was thinking about then. When I mentioned the NFTs before, with the money I made on Saturday, like, when it happened, I was just like, right, okay. Put my phone down and carried on eating my dinner. Yeah. I was like, it just didn't even affect me. And I was thinking, like, when is this going to hit me that I've just made that? But I don't think it's going to hit me. No. Like, it's like, at the point now, it's like, it's numbers on the screen, and the only thing that immediately goes into my head is, where's that being reinvested into?
Yes.
How is that 100%. Money going to make me more money? How is that 100k going to hit 1 million? Like, what have I got to do with that?
I think you only really experience the sort of thrill from it and things like that, with not particularly just things that you buy. Obviously, if you have a nice car and things like that, you get in it every day and you do still think like, oh, like, this is a really nice car, I really enjoy this. But experiences as well, I think that's when you really feel it. But at the end of the day, you're not going to spend all that money on experiences. I know you won't, because you're addicted to the process and you want to put it into something else to make even more and keep recycling it and growing it as much as you possibly can.
100%. And I think for me, another point was like it was more so when I was chatting with my mates and he was like, how did the drop go? Told them, and then their heads fell off. Yeah, they were like, oh my god, I'm so proud of you, like, mate, you're smashing it. And then I was like, that's when you take a step back and feel like 100%. When you see everyone else like is like ecstatic, and you're like just like unfazed.
But that's how you have to be, because obviously you do fail sometimes. You do make losses. I'm sure you've lost money on NFTs as well. I have before as well. I've lost money on Amazon products. So we say it's like a number on the screen. It sounds bad to say, but like, you just have to turn yourself off to it.
You can't have emotion.
No, because nowadays, I'll have days when I do, well, not particularly terrible sales, but then I'll have days when I do like really good amount of sales. But like, you've just got to be level-headed and completely the same and not get emotional over it. If you lose money, you lose money. Who cares? I'll go make it again. But then that also means that when you make it, you're just like, yeah, okay, let's go up and do the same thing again tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? And keep growing it. I think I get more excited over seeing the growth, week on week, month on month, doing more, beating last month, doing this, that, and the other, and increasing your overall sort of income overall, rather than just, I've done this amount in sales in a day.
That's true. So have you had like any particularly difficult times, like with your Amazon business? Or
well, I'm trying to think, because I've probably turned myself off to them now. I'm sure I have lost money before. I have lost money on, those cake boxes. Obviously, because there was such a long lead time. Towards the end, the lead time was like 2 months, and no one knew when COVID was over. Obviously, no one knew when the next lockdown was going to be, or if there was going to be a next lockdown. I'm pretty sure we were in lockdown at the time we were buying them. I could be wrong. Check the dates if you like. But I did buy more. But by the time they arrived, I think it was something like, I was buying, one delivery I remember was 13 pallets. And that's when I had to get 2 storage units for a while at that time too. They were quite big ones at the time. It was like half a lorry's load, which was quite insane for when I first started. And they would all go in like 2 to 3 weeks. But at the time, no one knew when COVID was going to be over. So I brought way too much. And I was like, I'll wait. People have got the stock back in. The price will go back up. But it kept coming down. I was like, wait, it will go up, it will go up. And it never went up. So by the time I'd picked and packed it and, put the set amount of cake boxes into a bag for the amount that needs to be sold and things like that, and then paid my friends, I was like, I don't want to pay my friends to do it if I'm not going to make any money out of it. I'm stingy like that, do you know what I mean? It would probably cost me, £100 for them to sort it out, but I didn't want to do it. And I waited until it was just too low, and I was like, I'm going to have to get rid of it now. And I made a loss on a lot of those pallets, and it would have probably been a decent few grand, just due to I was over-risking. But at the end of the day, in my head, if you take cake boxes as a whole, I never knew when it was going to end. So I could have just stopped buying at any point, and then it carried on, and then I would have had 2 months without stock. So in my head, I knew that was always going to happen in a way. Well, in my head at the time, I was probably thinking it was going to carry on forever. Yeah. But looking back, you know that that's going to happen, and that loss you just take off from the profit you made, which was,
I was going to say, obviously overall you still had net profit.
Of course, a large net profit from it. Yeah.
And then any business is going to experience losses. So it's
exactly. You can't be afraid of losses, and you'll learn from them. If I would have never have had that, I would do the same thing now and just keep buying things without thinking, oh, is this, that, or the other going to happen next week? Am I going to need the money to pay this bill, that bill? Do I have, any outstanding accounts that I need to pay and things like that? So it's like looking at cash flows and things like that, which is also really important.
So we've had a couple of questions from Aftermarket Arbitrage members regarding the wholesale and the course that you're going to be bringing. So the first one that we've got is the ideal budget when starting out for Amazon wholesale.
So the thing is with Amazon, you could start with £50 if you wanted to, and just do a really small order and put that money through, and then take your £80 back out, and then grow it and recycle it. The more the merrier, really. If you can put more, obviously don't throw $5,000 at your first order, but if you do have money saved up, then just slowly start put it in and see if that product is working. If it is, buy more, go on, find the next product and build it up. I'd say the absolute sweet spot for starting out and not really struggling straight away would be around £500, potentially less than that. At the end of the day, it's whatever you're comfortable with, because it's a very educated risk. A lot of the time, if a product may reduce in price, or this, that, and the other can happen, but 90% of the time you can still sell the product for the price that you brought it for, and just get that cash back out again. So I'd slowly trickle money in if I was just starting out again. But usually it does come pretty quickly, and you're like, I need more so you're looking for money than thinking, where do I put this money? You know what I mean?
Sweet. And the next one is, when is the course out?
So the course is coming out on the 14th of May. It's a Saturday. And all the details about that will be announced. It will already be announced by the time this is out, in Aftermarket Arbitrage.
And how does the course? How is it going to work? Just give us a brief overview.
Okay, so we'll have a separate section within the Discord server, within the Amazon section, for all the people that are on the course. Within there, you'll have lifetime support, so you'll be able to ask us questions, open tickets and things like that for things related to wholesale, your Amazon account, business, limited company account, anything all together in that section. And then obviously the actual teaching it would either be an hour a week or 2 hours a week, depending on how long it's going to take, really. It should be around 10 to 15 hours, something like that. Obviously we're still midway through producing the course, so towards the end of it we'll have a more realistic time, but you're not just buying 10 hours. If it takes 20 hours to get everything that I know across, it will take 20 hours. It doesn't particularly bother me how long it will take. They will be recorded, so obviously we'll try and find a time that's suitable for the majority, whether that's a Sunday morning, a Tuesday night when people aren't at work. But it will be recorded, so if you work obscure hours, you can then have the recordings, and you'll also have access to the PowerPoints and things like that, and all the information afterwards. So obviously you can take notes during the live sessions. There'll be group sessions. You'll be able to see my screen and what I'm explaining and things like that, and you can ask questions during the session while it's fresh in your head as well.
I'm so excited for this, because a lot of our members probably have never even really considered this before bringing you on board.
Yeah.
And it's I'm excited to see how it's going to change their lives, what positive impact we're going to have. I think this is going to be astronomical.
I think it will be really big.
In terms of our business, we're the only ones in the space doing this, in a cut group. And for us now, it's sort of we're leading the path.
Exactly, yeah. And it's good because obviously we already have the Amazon section, so people already have those baby steps covered. A lot of people start with online and retail arbitrage, like we mentioned at the start of the pod. So they already know how the seller account works, how to send things UPS and things like that. They've got those foundations covered. So it will be a lot easier for you. You'll learn a lot faster rather than just starting from absolute scratch. which is why it is a good idea if you can, before, you know, if you see this pod and you're not in AMA, get in there, get in the mix with Amazon and sort of learn those baby steps. And then if you enjoy it, if you like it, then, you know, jump into the course. You don't have to jump into course, no one's forcing you to, but at least you can sort of try it for with a lot less sort of capital expenditure than you would if you just jump straight in there.
So to round this up, we've got a great chat so far. One piece of advice to anyone who's watching, what are you going to give them?
I'd say it's what I said earlier, to be fair. Well, it's a multitude of points. If you're our age now, if you're, you know, 18 and over, even under that, just try and do things that will benefit you later in life. Try and make that first step. If you've been thinking about something for ages, you've been thinking about starting this thing, start it, start it. Just do the first step towards it and then build it and build it and build it, because we're at the time where there's such minimal risk involved. You'd be crazy not to. And it's much better to do that now than it is at 30 when you've got a wife and kids.
And just to round that off, I think that it's important to remember that if you don't take that first step, in 6 months' time, you're going to be in the exact same place.
Yeah.
If
and
you take
someone
that
else would have
step,
taken the step for you.
Exactly. If you're not going to be the risk taker,
someone else
will.
You're
the risk taker. We'll do it.
And we'll be 6 months ahead of you.
Exactly. Or there's going to be and then if you've not took that risk yourself, you're going to be in the same place. But if you have, even if you've made the tiniest bit of progress, you've still done something. You've still got something.
You've still got so much knowledge from it. I learn more from failing and, you know, losing money than I'll do ever from making money, because you're just doing the right thing. You haven't learnt anything. Do you know what I mean? You're just following an instruction manual. So, and obviously also enjoy your life as well. It's not all about making money in business and things like that.
It's not always about profit. It's
like
about
we said on the previous pod, I think you've definitely got to enjoy yourself as well, and just make sure you're living a good life.
Life's worth living. That's it.
Yeah.
Right. We'll round that off.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you, Jake. So, that was the second episode. We've just filmed back-to-back after filming with Matt from Food Review. Just covered everything that you're going to want to know about Amazon wholesale, and hopefully you're feeling a little bit more inspired and sort of want to take that jump. But that's the end of this one, and we'll look forward to chatting again soon.
If you do have any other questions and you're already in the Discord, just drop me a DM. Happy to answer any questions about wholesale, about the course, about Amazon in general. Just drop me a DM.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you. Cheers
Cheers, guys.
See ya.